will discuss about the remaining portion and then we will revise one of the norma basalis. So initially we have discussed about that the norma basalis is when we see the skull from the inferior aspect. It is divided into three portions. One line from the posterior nasal spine, one transverse line. And anterior part of it is the anterior portion. The area between the transverse line passing through posterior nasal spine till the imaginary line passing through anterior part of foramen magnum is the middle portion, and remaining portion including foramen magnum is the posterior portion. So for study purpose, norma basalis is divided into anterior, middle and the posterior part. We have discussed the anterior and middle part last time. Now we'll discuss the remaining posterior part. The posterior part is divided again into medial portion and lateral portion. Okay? So what are the structures which we are seeing in the medial part? We'll see in this diagram. Is much more clearer. Medial portion. This is the largest foramen of the skull, hence the name foramen magnum. On either side of it, there are condyles, which are known as the occipital condyles. Then this is the part of the body of sphenoid, and this portion is the basio-occiput. And this is the squamous part of the occipital bone. These are the structures which are present in the middle portion, or medial portion. Whereas in the lateral part here, there is squamous part of the temporal bone, petrous part of the temporal bone. Here is the tympanic part of temporal bone, which is known as the temporal plate, and the mastoid part. Okay. So these are the structures which are seen in the lateral portion, including the middle and the posterior area. So what are the structures which are seen in the medial part? There is one foramen, which is known as the foramen magnum, which is narrow anteriorly and wider posteriorly. On either side of it, there is presence of condyles, occipital condyles, whose axis is directed forward and medially. Anterior superior to it, there is one foramen known as the hypoglossal canal or anterior condylar foramen, and posteriorly there is postcondylar foramen and posterior condylar foramen. It is may or may not be present. This anterior condylar foramen gives passage to hypoglossal nerve, and this one posterior one, if present, it gives passage to emissary vein, which opens inside into the sigmoidal sulcus, or sorry, sigmoidal sinus. So that about the middle portion. Then behind that, this part we have before discussed in norma occipitalis. That behind that, what are the structures in the middle portion? From the posterior, middle of the posterior margin of foramen magnum, there is one crest, which is known as the external occipital crest, and at its posteriormost end, there is a bony elevation which is known as external occipital protuberance. This protuberance marks the junction of the neck and back portion. This bony prominence can be easily felt in living. From the middle of the, then on either side, if you can appreciate curved lines, curved arch lines, these are known as superior inferior nuchal line. We have already discussed it. Lines which are coming from the external occipital protuberance towards the lateral aspect, this is superior nuchal line, and from the middle of the external occipital crest, this is the inferior nuchal line. Okay. Sometimes just 1 centimeter above the superior nuchal line, there is presence of highest nuchal line, which is may or may not be present. Then this about the middle portion. Lateral to it, here there is presence of just condylar from the occipital condyle. Lateral to it, there is presence of one foramen, which is known as the jugular foramen. This is for the passage of the, because the internal jugular vein passes through it, the name is given jugular foramen. Medial to it, there is presence of an elevation. Few of the things which we can only appreciate in the bone itself. It's not very easy to find out in the pictures of the PPT. There is presence of jugular notch. Just lateral to jugular foramen, there is one fossa is present, which is known as the jugular fossa. Then on lateral aspect of it, there is a bony elevation is there, which is known as the styloid process. Okay? There is pin-like projection, which is known as styloid process. Posterior to it, there is one projection, which is known as mastoid process. In between the styloid and mastoid process, there is small foramen, which is known as stylomastoid foramen. Okay? The stylomastoid foramen give passage to the facial nerve. Okay? Then, just medial to mastoid mastoid process, there is one notch is there. This is mastoid present on the notch is present on the medial aspect of mastoid process. Okay? So what we have seen in the medial part, there is presence of foramen magnum, occipital condyles, anterior and posterior condylar foramen, external occipital protuberance, external occipital crest, superior nuchal line, inferior nuchal line. Lateral to it here, there is a large foramen which is known as jugular foramen. Then lateral to it, there is presence of styloid process. More posterior lateral to it, there is projection which is known as mastoid process. We can feel the mastoid process just behind our ear. And in between that, there is one foramen which is known as stylomastoid foramen. Okay. Through this jugular foramen, the structures which are passing is inferior petrosal nerve, then 9th, 10th, and 11th cranial nerve, and lastly, on the lateral aspect, from lateral aspect, this passage of internal jugular vein. Okay, so these are the structures which are passing through the jugular foramen. Then, from the foramen magnum, the structures which is the structures which are present or passing through the foramen magnum from its anterior portion is the apical ligament of Dens, vertical band of the cruciate ligament, and membrana tectona. Okay, the foramen magnum is divided into three parts: anterior part, middle part, and posterior part. From the anterior part, three structures passes: apical ligament of Dens, that is one ligament which is attached to the dens of the cervical vertebra. Then vertical band of cruciate ligament, and lastly the membrana tectona. And then from the middle portion, there passes the lower part of medulla oblongata and three meninges, whereas from the posterior portion, the spinal accessory nerve, that is 11th cranial nerve, passes along with the vertebral arteries, fourth part of vertebral artery, and plexus around the vertebral artery, and anterior and posterior spinal arteries, which supplies the spinal cord. And vertebral artery, which is coming through the cervical foramina and enters into the cranial cavity to supply the give branches to supply the brain. Okay, so that about the structures passing through foramen magnum. Then what are the things which are attached on the mastoid process and styloid process? On the mastoid process, there is attachment of or origin of posterior belly of digastric muscle, as well as the one of the muscle of the neck region, that is sternocleidomastoid muscle. About the styloid process, a few ligaments and muscles are attached over it. We'll discuss in later on in next LCD about the attachments on the styloid process. Then on the middle portion, there is presence of the triangular part, which is known as the petrous part of temporal bone. Here, can you appreciate this? This is the petrous part of temporal bone. At its apex, there is presence of one irregular foramen, which is known as foramen lacerum. It is wide, 1 centimeter wide. How it is bounded? Posterolaterally, it is bounded by the apex of the petrous temporal bone, medially by the body of the sphenoid and basiocciput, and on the anterior aspect, it is related with base of the pterygoid process. We have discussed last time. Pterygoid process, which later on project to form two plates, medial pterygoid plate and lateral pterygoid plate. This is foramen lacerum. From its upper part, from in its lower part, it is filled with cartilage only, and from its upper part, it gives passage to the internal carotid artery. Okay. Then this petrous part of temporal bone in the middle portion, or or in the norma basalis, how many parts of temporal bone we can see? This is the petrous part of temporal bone. This is the squamous part, this one, and this portion, you can see this triangular plate is known as tympanic part, that is tympanic plate. Okay. So petrous part, what structures we can see at its apex? There is foramen lacerum. Then its apex is perforated by one end of carotid canal, and you can see on inferior aspect this is the other end of the carotid canal, and this carotid canal passes forward and medially through the petrous part of temporal bone, and this give passage to the this canal is for the passage of internal carotid artery. Okay. Then the tympanic part of the temporal bone, this curved bony plate is also known as tympanic plate. This form a covering of the external acoustic meatus. Its anterior end is continuous with the petrous part of temporal bone, whereas its lateral border is free and curved. We'll discuss hopefully in our LCDs whenever we'll meet in the college. So here just try to understand. This is the external acoustic meatus, and this tympanic plate is forming its anterior wall. It's some part of the posterior wall and floor. Okay, so this is tympanic plate. Then its anterior surface is from the portion of the mandibular fossa, posterior part of mandibular fossa, and its posterior surface inside is smooth. So this is the mandibular fossa, which is present in the squamous part of temporal bone. It articulates with the mandible to form the temporomandibular joint. Then this is the squamous part of temporal bone. That about few structures in the lateral portion. Now what we have discussed, we'll just revise the norma basalis in total. Okay, so initially we have discussed that the anterior portion forms the hard palate. What are the structures which we have seen in the anterior part? Anterior 2/3 of hard palate and posterior 1/3 of hard palate. How this form? What is the structure in this? This alveolar socket for the lodgement of teeth. Then there is hard palate. This hard palate is formed by the cruciform suture, and it is present between the palatine bone and the maxillary bone. Palatine process of maxillary bone, which forms the anterior 2/3 part, and the horizontal plates of the palatine bone, which forms the posterior 1/3 part. These are the sutures: intermaxillary suture, interpalatine suture, or palatomaxillary suture. At the anterior end of this suture, there is presence of one foramen, which is incisive foramen, through which the greater palatine nerve passes, as well as if there is passage of the nasopalatine nerve. Then along the posterolateral aspect, there is presence of few foramen. This is greater palatine foramen, single foramen, in which through which there is passage of greater palatine nerve or greater palatine vessels and anterior palatine nerve. Posterolateral to it, there are 2 to 3 smaller foramen, which is known as lesser palatine foramen. These lesser palatine foramen give passage to middle and posterior palatine nerve. Okay, single greater palatine foramen for greater palatine vessels and nerve. 2 to 3 small lesser palatine foramina for lesser palatine vessels and nerve. Along its posterior end, there is one projection which is known as posterior nasal spine. And this is the palatine, this arched area is palatine crest, which gives attachment to palatine aponeurosis. Soft palate is attached to the hard palate on the posterior border. So this arched area will give attachment to palatine aponeurosis, which will give attachment to most of the muscles of soft palate. This posterior nasal spine gives attachment to musculoubule. Okay. Then this is on posterior aspect. This is the perpendicular plate of humor, or vertical plate of humor, which inferiorly or which on upper aspect divides to form two alar, which articulate with the body of the sphenoid bone. Okay. Just lateral to it, there is presence of pterygoid process, which gives rise to two plates. The medial one is known as medial pterygoid plate and the lateral one is lateral pterygoid plate. Okay. On the medial pterygoid plate, there is one projection which is known as pterygoid hamulus, which gives attachment to pterygomandibular raphe as well as the superior constricting muscle of the pharynx. Okay. This pterygomandibular raphe we have already discussed when we have discussed about the mandible. What is the attachment on the mandible? It gets attached on the upper border of the mandible just behind the third molar tooth. Okay. And now what about the attachments on the lateral pterygoid plate? On its lateral surface, there is origin of the lower head of the lateral pterygoid muscle, and on the medial surface, there is origin of deep head of medial pterygoid muscle. We have discussed about the origin and insertion of the muscles of mastication also. Okay. Then lateral to it, this is infratemporal fossa. We have discussed its boundary. Anteriorly, it forms its pentagonal structure. Anteriorly, it is related with the inferior aspect of infraorbital fissure. Anterolaterally, it forms the crest. Posterolaterally, it articulates with the squamous part of temporal bone. Anteromedially, it is continuous with the pterygoid process, and posteromedially, it articulates with the petrous part of temporal bone. This is the petrous part of temporal bone. Along its margin, along its posteromedial margin, there is presence of foramen, which is known as one oval foramen, that is foramen oval. Behind that, there is foramen spinosum. What are the structures which we have discussed passing through the foramen oval and spinosum? Through foramen oval, it was male, M-A-L-E, mandibular nerve, accessory meningeal artery, lesser petrosal nerve, and emissary vein. Just remember the most common questions which are asked about the skull is the foramina, and out of which these are the most commonly asked foramina. That's foramen oval, foramen spinosum, foramen magnum, jugular foramen. Okay. So through foramen oval, mandibular nerve, accessory meningeal artery, lesser petrosal nerve, and emissary vein. Okay. Then through foramen spinosum, there is 3M, middle meningeal artery, middle meningeal vein, and meningeal branch of mandibular nerve, which is also known as nervus spinosum or nervus spinosum. Okay. Then we have seen that along the junction of posteromedial border and the posterolateral border of infratemporal surface, there is presence of one projection which is known as spine of sphenoid. Okay. This spine of sphenoid, it is related with the two important nerve, medially with the auriculotemporal nerve and laterally with the cauda tympani nerve, which are supplying or giving secretomotor fibers to the salivary gland, okay, parotid and submandibular sublingual gland. Okay, so the injury to the spine will lead to loss of salivation due to if there is damage to these two nerves is there. Then on the petrous part of temporal bone, there is presence at the apex, there is presence of foramen lacerum. All pharyngeal muscles are getting attached. Okay. Then on the lateral portion, there is presence of mandibular fossa in the squamous part of temporal bone and articular tubercle which continues with the zygoma. This mandibular fossa is articulating with the temporal mandible, head of the mandible to form the temporomandibular joint. On the posterior aspect, there is presence of the spine of styloid process. Lateral to it, there is presence of tympanic plate, which forms the cover of the external acoustic meatus. This is the squamous part of the temporal bone. On the posterior aspect, we have discussed there is one large foramen, which is known as foramen magnum. Again, we have divided into three parts. From the anterior part, which structures passes? One is the apical ligament of Dens, vertical band of cruciate ligament, and third is the membrana tectora. From the middle portion, there is passage of the lower end of the medulla oblongata and three meninges. Through this foramen magnum, there is communication of the vertebral canal with the posterior cranial cavity. In posterior most part, there is passage of the spinal accessory nerve, vertebral artery, the nerve plexus around the vertebral artery, and anterior and posterior spinal arteries. Okay. Behind that, in the middle portion, there is one bony elevation here, which is known as external occipital protuberance. This from this external occipital protuberance till the posterior margin, there is one crest, which is known as external occipital crest. From the external occipital protuberance, two curved lines goes laterally. These are known as superior nuchal line. From the middle of the crest, there is passage of lines, which is known as inferior nuchal line. Then this is the squamous part of occipital bone. Lateral to it, there is presence of jugular foramen, jugular fossa, and here is this will be the location of jugular notch. Through this jugular foramen, there is passage of the inferior petrosal nerve, then 9th, 10th, and 11th cranial nerve, and interjugular vein. Okay. Lateral to it, there is fossa, jugular fossa, which is for the lodgement of the superior bulb of the interjugular vein. Then lateral to it, there is one bony elevation, which is known as styloid process. Then there is one another bony elevation, which is known as mastoid process. Here there is attachment of the posterior belly of digastric and sternocleidomastoid muscle. Between styloid process and mastoid process, there is one foramen, which is known as stylomastoid foramen, through which facial nerve emerges. Remember, in case of fetal life, till the age of 2 years, there is no development of mastoid process. Okay. In the adult life, this stylomastoid foramen is protected by the mastoid process, but till the age of 2 years, this mastoid process is not developed. So this stylomastoid foramen is directly exposed to the skin, okay, or laterally exposed laterally, and through which facial nerve passes. So this said that we should not slap on the just behind the ear or just on the lower aspect of the face to the kids less than 2 years, or there should not be any injury on that region, because the facial nerve is directly exposed to the surface. So it is not protected by mastoid process. So there is chances of injury to this nerve, and that will lead to the paralysis of muscles of facial expression, which is supplied by the facial nerve. Okay? So that about the few basic things of norma basalis. Again, we'll just see the structures. We have divided the norma basalis into three parts. Anterior part, imaginary line passing from the posterior nasal spine. Middle portion between the posterior nasal spine and the anterior margin of the foramen magnum, and posterior part is behind the foramen magnum, that is including foramen magnum. Rest all is present in the posterior part. For the structures in the anterior part, there is alveolar socket for the lodgement of teeth, hard palate. Anterior 2/3 of it is formed by the palatine process of maxillary bone, posterior 1/3 by the horizontal plate of palatine bone. They join with the help of cruciform suture to form the hard palate. On the hard palate, there is presence of, on the anterior aspect, incisive foramen for the passage of nasopalatine nerve. On here, there is presence of the pits are there for the glands of the palate. Then on the posterolateral aspect, there is one greater palatine foramen and 2 to 3 lesser palatine foramen. Through greater palatine foramen, greater palatine vessels and nerve passes. Through lesser palatine foramen, lesser palatine vessels, that is posterior and middle palatine nerves passes. In the middle portion, how many foramen? This is foramen ovale, foramen spinosum, foramen lacerum. This is carotid canal. Posterior to it, there is jugular foramen. Again, in this picture, you can appreciate the structures on the lateral aspect of the middle portion of norma basalis. This is tympanic plate, which is forming the floor, anterior wall of the external acoustic meatus. This is tympanic plate, which is triangular in shape. Apex is directed medially, and it is fused with the inside with the petrous part of the temporal bone. The lateral border or base is free, rough, and rounded. Its anterior surface forms the portion of the mandibular fossa. Its posterior surface forms the inside of the external acoustic meatus. Then this is the mastoid process, bony projection. This is the mastoid notch, this depression. This is styloid process. In between them, there is one foramen which is known as the stylomastoid foramen. One more thing here, at the junction of the greater ring of sphenoid bone and petrous part of temporal bone, there is one depression which is known as sulcus tubi. This tube area for the lodgement of cartilaginous part of auditory tube. Okay. This is petrous part. Apex is lacerated to form foramen lacerum, and this is the carotid canal, posterior end of carotid canal. Here there is one fissure which is known as the petrotympanic fissure between the tympanic portion and the petrous part of the temporal bone. Posterior aspect, again foramen magnum, condylar processes, anterior and posterior condylar canal. Here you can appreciate this elevation, pharyngeal tubercle, external acoustic meatus, external acoustic crest, highest nuchal, middle, superior nuchal line, and inferior nuchal line. So that about the norma basalis. Here, this is the picture which is showing few of the foramina and its structures passing through it. You see from the posterior aspect, this is the foramen magnum, spinal cord, that means the lower end, it gives passage to lower end of the medulla oblongata, which continues as the spinal cord with meninges, anterior posterior spinal artery, vertebral artery, and spinal root of the accessory nerve. Then occipital condyle. This is hypoglossal canal for the passage of hypoglossal nerve. This is posterior condylar canal. Present give passage to emissary veins. This is the jugular foramen for the passage of 9th, 10th, 11th cranial nerve and internal jugular vein. This jugular process and mastoid process. This is carotid canal for the passage of internal carotid artery. Then this is styloid process. This is stylomastoid foramen for the passage of 7th cranial nerve. There is facial nerve. Then mandibular foramen ovale for the passage of mandibular nerve, cerebellar artery, lesser petrosal nerve, and emissary vein. Okay. So that all about the norma basalis. Thank you. हाँ बंद कर दीजिए. पेनड्राइव ले लो मेरा. पेनड्राइव ले लो. Right.